Good day and greetings, good day and greetings, good day and greetings on this Thriving Thursday. Good day, everyone, on this Thriving Thursday from the one and only Coach K, the coach that has been assigned to inspire the called and motivate the meek, the coach that has been assigned to inspire the called and motivate the meek. On this morning, we are almost through yet another week. And I just want to give you some inspiration to continue to allow you to press and to push your way through whatever you may be facing, whatever you may be maneuvering through, whatever you may be challenging, what may be challenging in your life, or just those things. Everything doesn't have to be challenging or rough. Certain things can be exciting and exploring, but it still needs management. So whatever side that you're on today, I just want to inspire you with the title on today: hard moves. This morning, as I was maneuvering around, I began to think about recent conversations that I've had with my sister circle, with other friends, co-workers, people I've met, people at my church, just all around. I talk a lot now, just having those conversations and listening to the things that God has done in their life. And them sharing or either knowing the thing that they face before their breakthrough was presented. And I began to think about the faith moves that people are beginning to make. Not knowing, not understanding, pressing past the unknown, but they're making hard moves. They're making big moves. And I begin to get excited because y'all know I love the whole thing with healing and breakthrough and just being able to survive and just make it through. And I began to think about that, and I said, God, I thank you. I thank you for the people that are no longer stuck in comfort, the people that are breaking off curses on their life, the people that are finding your strength and letting go of theirs. I thank you for the people that are so confident in you that they're willing to trust you even when they don't understand. And I just began to thank God for each and every one of us that are trusting God within our decisions of hard moves. And God allowed me to think about how hard moves, a lot of times we think that we are doing it just for us. But the hard moves, God began to show me a perspective of, if you are a parent, there are some hard moves that you're going to make. And those hard moves are going to be exactly what your children need. It's going to be, or it is the thing that your children need to see you do. God began to share with me, Keisha, many people focus on generational curses. God said, but right now in the video that you're going to do, I want you to express household curses. Because there are some things that are being done. There are some things that are being seen. There are some things that are being modeled. That's the word, modeled in our households that shouldn't be. And it doesn't have to be attached to a generational curse. It can be attached to a weakness that you've allowed to come in and to take over, a level of comfort that you have became complacent in. It could be from an experience that you faced, and now your kids are seeing the effects. They're seeing your unhealthy response. God said, let's start thinking about breaking household curses. Let's start reversing that curse. I was like, okay. I began to even think about myself and my oldest son and my youngest son. I began to think about the young ladies that look up to me as a spiritual mom, as a mentor, as a big sis, as a sister circle, whatever it is. And I began to say, you know what? You right. We do it for them people. We do it for them people. So that when they begin to come against a hard challenge or a difficult experience, that hopefully something they see us do, hopefully our speech, our actions, our response, our prayer life, our lifestyle will continue to encourage them. I began to think about my oldest son and some of the things that I reflect on often. And I began to say, yeah, like there are some things that must be broken off of my life. There are some things, I'm gonna be honest, that I would have loved to stay comfortable in. They were working, they seemed to be working for me. And there were other things that I know that wasn't working for me, but were challenging. They were very challenging to break from, to let go of. But what motivated me to let go and to move forward was thinking about my oldest son. That if I stay in this and he see me in this, and he see the effects that it's taken on me, or he see my level of comfort, even as a male looking at his mom, he may feel it's okay. So there were some things that I just had to decide, yes, I was going to break, because I did not, or I refuse, and I will not allow my kids to see me drown in this. And it can be things that we are okay with, or things that we are just maneuvering through and for the moment we're comfortable in. But the view, the perspective that our kids take from it, because we feel sometimes that we're trying to cover up or hide it, but kids are smarter than what we think. So if as parents, if as leaders, if as role models or whatever, we can just think about the younger generation. The younger generation. How does our lifestyle, how does our everyday reaction, responses, habits, character, what does that represent to them? Is it showing them something positive? Is it confusing to them? Is it motivating to them? Is it discouraging to them? Because we're working towards breaking household curses, breaking curses within our environments that we've gotten comfortable in, environments that we have become codependent in, friendships and familyships that we have become comfortable in. We know that there's some codependency there. Breaking those types of things. God began to share with me this morning how we must detach from dysfunction and destruction. We must detach from dysfunction and destruction to attract authenticity and intentionality. We must detach from dysfunction and destruction to attract authenticity and intentionality. And that is so real. That's so real. I began to think just even about the process that I'm going through, celibacy. I began to think about this morning, wow, like it's a hard move to tell a man, like, I'm no longer having sex. Like, I'm going to do what God requires of me. And you can make whatever choice that you choose to make. I'm okay with that. That's a hard move, you know. And for somebody watching this video, you just made a hard move. God is speaking to you about making a hard move. There's a conviction that's building up that's been rising for a minute now. God is requesting you, demanding you. He's pulling you towards a hard move. What I want to encourage you on today is you have to think about you and God. Where is that situation going to place you and God? you and God. And there are so many times when we feel we don't want to let go because of others. We don't want to let go because of what we fear. But when you show up authentic, when you show up with intentionality, you begin to, even if I'm learning, even when you walk in intentionality in your authentic self, even if you attract somebody that is not healing, that is a non-believer, or, function in unhealthiness or toxicity, God, most of the time, at least with me, opens up a door for me to present myself, to speak into them. Let's just say a single. You decide that, okay, I'm single, I'm not having sex, I'm doing this, I got all these standards and boundaries, and you meet somebody that's trying to talk to you. You meet somebody that's interested, but they don't meet with the standards that you have set for yourself. That's your opportunity to speak. Sometimes the words that you can speak to a person will give them a different perspective to go back and start reflecting their life. Sometimes it can encourage them to look at things differently. Sometimes it can encourage them to heal and break the curses off of their life, because you have shown up as your authentic self. You showed up with intentionality. You are so committed to your process. You're so committed to the goal. You're so committed with God that no one can sway your decision. And most times when people see that, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So we must detach from dysfunction and destruction to attract authenticity and intentionality. Your cycle, your process, your growth, your development, people are watching. They remember the unhealthy you. Now they're seeing the healthier you. And even though they may have some unhealthiness, they may be dealing with some spirits, or dealing with, whatever in their life, some sin in their life, they're watching you. And in their mind, you may be triggering a trend. God may be using you as a way to trigger a change, to trigger a shift, to trigger a desire, to bring them out of a stronghold, a curse, a pattern, or something. So always, regardless where you show up, on your job, in your family, wherever you show up, present your authentic self with intentionality. You do not know how God will use you to bless people that may be off track. He may use you to get them on track, through a simple conversation. He will use you to speak something into their life. And that's basically the message this morning, based on hard moves. Continue to encourage people to press and push. I know that it's not easy. I know that at times it can be difficult and even fearful, and sometimes it may seem discouraging because you don't know. You don't know the outcome. It's so much of the unknown presented. But God is good and He's faithful. He is faithful. He is faithful, and He will reward your faithfulness. He will. He will. He will. He will. It is not God's desire for us to remain in darkness, dysfunction, or destruction. I'll say it again. It is not God's will for us to remain in darkness, dysfunction, or destruction. It's not His will. But if we decide to keep ourselves there, we cannot continue to blame God. We have to take a self-accountability that I have not made the right choices. I continue to get stuck in comfort. I continue to not let go of what God has required me to do. And some of us, God doesn't even have to tell us to do it. We know that we should be letting it go. We know that we should be doing it. We have to have the faith. We have to have the faith to move towards the hard moves. And if I can encourage you, don't try doing it by yourself. Try finding a community. Try finding some help and some support. So when those moments come and you do get discouraged and you do, deal with weaknesses and temptation and conviction and those things, that you can have an outlet. You can have an outlet to detox, an outlet to vent, and to become, to get your strength back. That's so very important. So on this morning, hard moves. I began to think as I was getting in my car, I began to think about the things that I told God that I didn't want to be like in ministry. I say this several times. I look at certain men pastors that I seen growing up and the things I saw them doing. And I was like, God, I saw them struggling with their flesh. I saw them struggling with their flesh. And I said, God, I don't want to struggle with my flesh in ministry. I don't want my flesh to get me in trouble. I don't want my flesh to ruin what you are about to allow me to walk into. And as I got in my car this morning, I said, Keisha, wow, that's powerful, because if I can pray to God and ask God and tell God what I don't want to be like in ministry, and we know that He does exceedingly abundantly more than we can ever ask or think, then He's going to do some over-the-top things. Like, He's going to do some over-the-top things. I'm just focused on what I don't want to be, like what I don't want to do and what I don't want to struggle with. God has said, I'm going to give you that and more. I believe and trust Him that He's going to give me that and more. As we are ending the month of April and about to walk into May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. As I was driving, the Holy Spirit began to say to me that let's remember to continue to pray that in the month of May, that God will build mental restoration, that God will bring mental recovery, that God will begin to present miracle manifestations, that mindsets will begin to become shifted, that mindsets will begin to become recovered, that those thoughts and those decisions and that are unhealthy and that you have been trapped in, those thoughts and those decisions that have kept you in bondage and chained up and stuck, that you couldn't move forward. We are praying that in the month of May, that God will break those things, that mental manifestations will happen in the month of May, that we will move over and beyond any mental challenges that we are facing within ourselves, within the relationships, with family-ships, friendships, situationships, family-ships, whatever it is, that God will loose the troubles of our mind. The battles of our mind will be released in the month of May. I speak against mental disturbances in the month of May. I speak against destruction of the mind. I speak against dysfunction of the mind. I speak against distractions of the mind. I trust and believe that God is going to break those things off of some people in the month of May. If you do and show up in the manner that you're supposed to, I trust and believe that God's going to break it off your life. So on this Thriving Thursday, I just want to say, keep going. I'm proud of you. Keep pushing, keep pressing. You are not alone. A lot of times we are going through things and we feel like, man, I'm the only one, until God begins to open up the door or the opportunity for you to actually talk to somebody that have experienced something close to what you are. And you begin to see, man, I'm not the only one dealing with this. Stay inspired, stay motivated, stay encouraged, stay empowered. Continue to put God first in whatever situation that you are facing, and trust and believe that He will get you through that very thing. Continue to believe that through every experience, there is a lesson. Through every experience is the lesson, and you continue to focus on the lesson and not the challenges of the experience. Yeah, you'll make it. I trust and believe that you'll make it, and you'll begin to get yourself to a spot where you are now making hard moves. And not only will you be proud of you and others be proud of you, but God will be proud of you. Be blessed. I love you. Until next time, be safe.